haven't planted your winter containers yet, I'm going to put together an arrangement for you guys today and show you some ways that you can create some really nice visual interest for your containers in the winter time. I know you guys are just letting those things just be dirt out there, and they look, a beautiful container deserves to have some beautiful color and plants in it. So let me show you some things. I'm going to choose kind of from the variety of plants I have here at Stokley's Garden Center. They've got some really nice things blooming and that are evergreen and that are really nice this time of year when everything else is kind of looking a little sad. As always, with any container that you plant, you want to make sure that you have something that spills over the front, you want to have something that's tall, and then some color in between. But keep in mind how you're going to use your container. If your container's in a corner, the way that we would design it is basically like the tall thing in the back and all the short things and overflowing into the front. But if your container is something that you can walk around and see all of the sides, consider putting the tall plant in the center and then all of the smaller and spilling things all the way around the sides so that you've got interest all the way around. So for my case, I'm going to choose to put this planter in a corner or somewhere where it'll only be seen from basically one side. And so I'm going to put this foxtail fern in the back. So we're going to do that. Also, you guys keep in mind that this planter is going to be for winter full sun, but when it starts to get the scorching hot summer heat, we're going to have to switch some of these plants out because the ivy that I'm going to use really only does well in a shadier condition in the summer. It's fine in full sun in the winter, but in summer it's a different situation. Ooh, this one's tight in here. You guys, look at these roots. These plants are so hardy and grow so fast. Look at these little bulbs where it holds the water. So cool. So remember that you want to, they call scarify the roots, loosen up the soil some so that these roots can start putting out new shoots into this container, because this container is its home. Remember that when you plant in a container, this is all the space it has to grow. You want to make sure that the plants that you're putting it, each one with, together have similar water requirements and similar sun requirements, and not similar, I mean the same. You want to make sure that this is not, you know, a succulent with a water-loving plant, because those two can never do well in a container together. So we're going to put this foxtail fern right here in the back. I've already filled this container up with soil for the most part, and I'm going to continue to kind of tuck soil in where it's needed, but for now we're going to leave it just like this. So again, this is going to be viewed from the front. We've got our tall foxtail in the front. We've got this great winter cabbage that adds this beautiful, look how pretty that color is with this green and this purple together. It's just really pretty. So again, pull the planter off, stack it over here with the other one, and pull those. I'm going to pull some of this out and let it stay out. Actually, I might need it back for stacking. I'm going to break it up in this container so that I've got a little bit of lift for this plant. And what I'd like to do with this cabbage is kind of let it tilt over to the side rather than being straight up, and that way it can be viewed from the side, which is nice. So you can already see that this container is kind of forming up with the height in the back, some little color off to the side, and then what I want to do is to add this variegated ivy. And this is where that little trick comes in that I just talked about. This ivy, although all of these plants that are in the back will do great in full sun, this ivy really is a more shade tolerant plant in the summer, but in the wintertime it'll do great in full sun with all of these plants. So this will be the guy, along with the annuals that we're going to put in, that when it gets to spring and summer you may want to switch this out because it may not last, you know, in that hot south sun. So what I'm going to do too is, you can see I've got this 6-inch plant. I had the option of a 4-inch ivy that can plop in, but notice how much larger this one is, and we can split it. We can split the 6-inch one just a little bit to get a little more interest out of it. So what I did is to take the plant and you literally just put your thumbs in the center and pull apart, and then look at it. You've got this one long plant that you can put right here. And we're going to add a little more dirt to it so that I'm going to use my little containers as a scoop over here, I think. If I can get one out of here. Add a little more dirt underneath here to give me some lift. And then we're going to put our variegated ivy and let it just cascade over the front like that. Okay, so we've got our spillers, we've got our thrillers, we've got, no, just kidding. I don't know all this crazy terms that they use for how you plant containers, but we've got our variegated ivy over the front, kind of merging into our winter cabbage. We've got our foxtail fern, and then let's add some seasonal color in here. These are pansies. You guys know that these will last all the way until probably like April. So with this planting, you've got a solid 3 or 4 months with this planting. If you did a little earlier, you have even longer. We're a little late to this game. It's January, but a little more dirt. Remember, we break up those roots before we plant it. Put that guy in there. Let's see, we've got a snapdragon back here. We've got, I want to do these violas, I think. That'll add that really nice yellow and orange all in one plant, which is great. Pull it apart. I like to pull the tags out. Some people like to save these so that they remember how to care for the plants, but I know what I'm doing. I'm a pro. I don't need no stinking plant directions. Just gonna break up that root ball. I'm gonna add a little more soil down here because we still have a little bit more room for some soil to lift up these final few plants. And you guys, I didn't plan any of this. Before we started shooting this video, I did not really do a lot of planning as far as how this was gonna go together. I just gathered a bunch of things from the garden center and just, as we say, plug and play. And look how pretty it is. It's nice and full. You guys, in the springtime or in the summer when it starts to get hot, remember that a lot of this is gonna come out and you can replant it with something that's more appropriate for the summertime. Maybe these would be not impatiens with full sun. You can do a vinca in here or something like that. Maybe this would be another type of colorful evergreen, and then we can do creeping Jenny in the front if you want a full sun. Or what you could do is change everything out for shade, including this guy back here. So tons of options there. And then of course, if you want to mulch it, there's not a ton of room to see any kind of mulch that's happening here, but if you want to, you guys know my new favorite is to use a moss and just tuck it here. You can, I mean, there's always little places where you can see it and for it to be really pretty, and just give it that really finishing touch that makes it look like it's a finished product. So took all this stuff around. This will help lock in the moisture. Y'all look at my hands. This will help lock in the moisture. You're not gonna have really any weeds popping up because this won't be around long enough for you to really have weeds, but it just looks really pretty and finished. And then water it really good so that all this dirt, these little particles of dirt go away, and then you'll have this really pretty. And don't forget, guys, the deadhead. When this bloom is spent, you pinch it off, keep it fertilized all winter, and this thing will continue to have these beautiful blooms throughout the entire season. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, as always, comment below. I'll be happy to help you out. Happy winter planting.